Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the Sullivan family. It is Thursday. It's Thursday and it was really sunny this morning. It's actually quite overcast now. And we did have rain randomly earlier, but it's still very warm. So apparently we are set for a heat wave this weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is set to be really hot. The last few days has been warm and it's supposed to have been sunny and dry, but we have had showers, just like a random shower out of nowhere, poured down with rain and then nothing. So it's kind of been, in fact, Ben emptied the entire shed yesterday to sort it out. Beautiful sunshine, everything else rained, poured down. And then it was nice for the rest of the day. It even got washing out on the line and it even dried. It's very random. The weather here is always random. I think even after living here for 12 years we've been here now. It's still, it can be all seasons in one day. It really can. Anyway, I thought I would do a little vlog on parenting different ages. So obviously most people have, children or a child close together and then, they grow up and you've kind of done it all. We've kind of got different, and then you have other people with different stages. We've got because we've got quite a large family, we've kind of got all stages. So we've got Lizzie who's 20, Florence who's 3. So there's a vast age range in that kind of thing. Do you see what I mean? If we were to just have had the older children, we'd now have 20, 18, 17, 15. That's the older 5. So you've kind of done that baby bit and you've done that middle bit and you're on to the older teenagers. But obviously we have the older teenagers and above, the middly ones and the little ones as well, and Florence, who's kind of still in that. I mean, she's not really a toddler because she's 3, but we're still having those kind of emotions. She's 3, she has lots of emotions. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about what that kind of means. Seagulls, you hear them? So annoying. What that kind of means, how we manage it, or don't sometimes, and just kind of what it looks like for us, really. I had to clean my glasses because they're actually minging. I never understand how glasses get so dirty, but mine just seem to be minging all the time. I'm still not sure on the hair, by the way. It's a bit flyaway today. It's because it's hot. And although I don't have curly hair, it does go a bit. Does everyone's hair go a bit wild when it's hot and heat and humid? Because mine just kind of I'll just give up because it just goes a bit crazy. Anyway, so I put a reel on the other night about having children, and it was from I might not say this right, Professor now actually. I just had to double check. It's Dr. Gabor Mate. I think that's how you say it. So I've got one of his books. I've watched quite a lot of his stuff that he's done on, childhood development and those sorts of things. Hang on. And he was kind of saying really, a lot about attachment, parent-child attachment. And a lot of it is... A lot of what he says makes a lot of sense to me now. And I look back to the parents that we were when we had the older children first, new parents. Ben was 30 when we had Elizabeth and I was 26, nearly 27. So we weren't young. We were in our 20s, but still, she was still the first child. And to be perfectly honest, I'd looked after children before, all that sort of stuff, but we didn't have a clue. Literally didn't have a clue. And she wasn't the easiest of babies, just in that, like some of others have literally been feed, put down, lovely. She, used to cry a lot. I used to think constantly that I was doing things wrong. Constantly thought I was doing things wrong all the time. Because if something was wrong, then what am I doing wrong all the time? I was really, I'm not a nervous parent, just really wanted to get it right. Really wanted to get it right. And, you take on board comments from other people, advice from other people. You take on board, I mean, back then it was magazines and things like that or books even, rather than the internet. Talking 20 years ago, we didn't have the access to the internet that we had now. And I sometimes think, does that now, in a way, it makes it easier for new parents. But on the flip side of that, it can also probably make it harder in the fact that you could be following somebody who's got a new baby and makes, their baby might do all the things that it's supposed to do. It might go to sleep when you put it to sleep. It might be, but equally social media has the ability to lie, basically, to show the bits off that you want to show and not show the other bits. So it can make you feel inadequate quite a lot. So although I think it would have been really good for the support and that side of it, I can see how, some people might find it the other way, if you like, make them feel bad about themselves. That's not what it's meant to be. Usually you can find a community online that maybe you wouldn't have in person. It's difficult going to baby groups and things like that, especially, like, I was really shy. I didn't think I was doing anything right. I used to go to these groups and everybody else seemed to have it together and I didn't. So yeah, perfectly honest, I used to hate going to things like that because I just used to think, I don't feel like I've got it all together and these people look like they have and I feel like I'm struggling. So having an online community probably would have done me the world of good. Having the online community that we have now, it would have been amazing. People swapping ideas. That side of social media and the internet is wonderful. People, giving advice, swapping ideas. Sometimes it's not even advice that you need. Sometimes it's just somebody else's idea and they say, why don't you try this? I guess that's kind of advice in a way. And you think, why didn't I think of that? Anyway, we were very different parents back then, not in a bad way. We were trying our best, but we did listen to a lot of outside advice, like I said, TV, magazines, even health visitors and things like that. And some of the things that you were advised to do didn't sit right with me then. A bit like we were all advised to do the cry it out method, when they were tiny and they were trying to get them into a routine of sleep. You leave them to cry, you go out the room, you go back. I remember doing it with Olivia and it was horrendous, to be honest. I remember standing outside the bedroom and you're only talking minutes. You used to lengthen it every time they advised you to leave them for 1 minute, stand outside the room, or, sit in with them and then gradually go out further and further. And I remember doing it with her and sitting outside the room and she was crying. She was only a baby. And I just used to think, this is awful. I can't do this. This is horrible. I hate it. I don't want to be doing this. I just want to go and pick her up. But, that's what you were advised to do. That's what the health visitors told you should do. That's what the books and the magazines and everything else. And I just, and in the end, yeah, okay, she did sleep. But it wouldn't have been the way. I wouldn't dream of doing that now at all. It wouldn't have been the way. Florence, if she murmurs, she gets a cuddle. And back then I didn't have the confidence to do that. And I mean, I get it. That might not work for everybody. Some people might like to do that method and that's what they need. They need that baby to go down to bed. They want that child, whereas with me, I'm a different parent now, like I said, and I'm quite happy to cuddle all the time if, within reason. Well, no, not even within reason. I'll sit there and give her a cuddle all day if she wanted. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, I don't know whether it's age, experience, confidence in myself. I don't know whose dog that is. But a lot has changed in the way that we parent. but like I said, it's not bad stuff or anything like that. It's just a lot of the things that I felt that we had to do back in the day, when the older ones were younger. I mean, they laugh now. Well, they don't laugh, actually. We laugh because they say, you know, you were much stricter on us when we were little than you are on the little ones. And yeah, they're probably right. We probably were. But we were very much, you know, we have a large family. We stick out like a sore thumb anyway. People judge us for everything we do. Therefore, we need to be perfect. We need to be on it. We need to look smart. We need to do this, do this, do this, so that nobody thinks that we're, you know, people have their assumptions of what we are as a large family. We don't want them to think, you know, we don't want to seem, we used to have to feel that we had to live up past those judgments, that we could show people that we weren't what they thought we were. And in actual fact, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter, because people will make snap judgments anyway. And if people don't want to get to know you, then so be it, you know. But again, that's another confidence thing. Nowadays, I used to feel very conscious when we used to go out and about, and we probably only had like maybe 7 children at the time before social media. So we used, you know, people say, oh, you put yourself on social media, you're going to get judged. We got judged way before social media was around. You know, just walking down the street. One time Ben was actually stopped in the street by somebody and told to go and get a job. He'd actually just come back from being away with the RAF for 4 months. He'd literally just got back, which was why we were out in the daytime with all the kids. And he took the time to explain and say, you know, what his job did. But I just thought, that's just an assumption that you've made because we're walking in the street in the middle of the day with all the kids. But yeah, we were always judged purely for having a large family, and that's part of it's never really changed. But if you know us as people, you know us as people. But if you don't want to get to know us, then, you know, equally, that's just beside the point, isn't it? It's just whatever, really. But as far as parenting goes, I think parenting the younger ones, I mean, we still come up against the same challenges we came up with the older ones, but the way that we handle it is now probably totally different. The way we do things is now probably totally different. Maybe not totally different, but a lot different. A lot has changed in the world as well. A lot has changed within what's seen as acceptable within parenting and stuff like that. A lot of views have changed. I mean, who knew that 10 years ago we would be homeschooling all our children? Because we'd never thought that we were. You know, we were in school, kids were all in school. I mean, if I knew now, then, even what I know now, I probably wouldn't have sent some of the older ones through school, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Now, I know on here especially, people always ask, you know, what I do with the children, because obviously I don't do anything with the children because it's not filmed. So there's always comments about me not doing anything and all those sorts of things, and not doing any schooling with the kids, and Ben does everything and all that sort of stuff. Now, for a long time, I mean, it doesn't really bother me because it is what it is. We know how life works for us, and whatever. But for a long time, I was, I guess, what you called the default parent, because Ben went out to work, and it wasn't that Ben didn't do his fair share, because he did more than his fair share. He went out to work, he came home, you know, he got stuck straight in. But there was lots of times when Ben was away. He spent a lot of time away when the older kids were small, so Toby upwards. He spent a lot of time away with the RAF for months, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. And I was on my own. So, you know, I would do everything. And we didn't have older ones to help at the time. So it was just me and the kids. And we managed, you know, we did it. We managed because that was my place to do so. And then obviously when he was not going away anymore, he still went out to work every day, came home, got stuck straight in. You know, our family, people say, Ben will get all the comments saying, you know, Ben's a great dad, and he is. He's a wonderful dad. But it's always like, but what? I'm not saying that I want people to call me a wonderful mum. I don't mean that. But what I mean is, we both decided to have a family both of us. So therefore, we're both just as responsible as the other one. And that's how it's always been for us. It's never been a conversation about, well, you know, you need to do this and you need to do that. We've both always been the parent. It just so happened that I was the one that stayed at home, Ben was the one that went out to work, and that was absolutely both. That was how we wanted it to be. And I know for some people that might seem old-fashioned, but that was always what I wanted to do. If I had a family, I wanted to stay at home and raise that family. And I know, again, that's no slight on anybody's any other people's choices of what they want to do. I'm lucky that I always was lucky that I could stay at home and raise a family. And I know there's probably lots of people that want to go back to work, feel that they've, you know, got their careers and everything. And it's whatever suits you as a person. I also know there's lots of people that have gone back to work that would much rather be at home raising their family. And that is not, it's not what was the word I'm looking for? An option for them, because they have to work. And I'm glad that, you know, I could be at home, and that we still are. You know, as much as people say, oh, you don't do anything, we both earn money from home now, and it's the best situation that we could be in. We both earn money. We're from being at home, which means we can be at home and earn money from what we do, so we can both be here for the kids. So it's very different. The situation now is very different, and we're still in some ways kind of getting used to it, because, you know, for 17, 18 years probably, I was the one at home all the time. Ben was the one, you know, 9 to 5 or a month or whatever, at work or away or whatever. So now, and it's also different because we have older ones. And I know a lot of people say, oh, those older kids are just bringing up their younger kids. They're not bringing up the younger kids. The older ones have all got their own lives. They've got their independence. They've got their jobs. They've got their social lives. But yeah, if they're here in the house, they do help out. They help out with things. We all live here. So, you know, everybody helps out. And yeah, they do take their siblings out sometimes, the little ones out. That's a sibling relationship. That's a perfectly natural. I mean, how amazing must it be to be small and have older brothers and sisters that want to take you places? I mean, that's incredible. How wonderful is that? And I'm never going to stand in the way of that sibling relationship. Quite often they take Florence up to the shop or whatever, or out for a walk. And I'm not going to stand in the way of that, because that's their relationship. I don't think people can get their head round that, and they automatically assume that they're being made to do these things. Nobody's made to do anything in this house. They like spending time with their siblings. And when they don't, they go off and do something else. You know, I never say to them, I need you to be at home at this time because I need you to look after them. They've all got other things going on. But yeah, totally lost my train of thought. There. I was talking about me and Ben, and about how the whole situation. See, I sometimes still try and do all the stuff, and then I'm like, oh, I haven't done any of that. You know, I haven't done this with the kids, or I haven't done that with the kids because I've been cleaning this or doing that or making that or doing this. And Ben's like, yeah, but we're both at home now. So we're both here to, I thought I could hear them back. We're both here to manage the children, manage the homeschooling, manage the cooking, manage the cleaning. So it's still quite a difficult sort of concept, because like I said, I feel guilty for not doing all the stuff. Like, I do the majority of the cleaning. Ben, the cooking is a bit of I do sometimes Belle cooks because she enjoys cooking. We don't make her cook. She enjoys cooking. And Ben quite often does the cooking. But then I do the washing. I do the cleaning of the bathrooms. I do the hoovering, you know, or downstairs gets hoovered normally by one of the older ones, Lizzie or Eva, or somebody who was the downstairs every day. But the majority of the cleaning and the organising falls to me. But like the majority of the cooking might fall to Ben. But that's not a bad thing. That's not, oh, you know, Ben's doing, we're both, it's called managing a household. And I think because sometimes if people don't see it on camera, they think it doesn't happen. There's 24 hours in a day and we only film a very short amount of it. And this isn't a kind of, I'm going to, you know, prove this video or anything like that. I'm just kind of telling you how it is and how we manage stuff. but yeah, it's something we're still trying to kind of get to everything and work out where everything fits and who does what when. Like, Ben is so much better than me at doing projects with the kids. So much better. He's got so much more. I mean, we're both quite creative people, but he's got so much more vision when it comes to doing a big project with the kids on a big piece of paper or a science project or something like that. That's his strong point. So why am I gonna then, I might suggest things to him. He does that. He loves doing it. They love him doing it. He's enthusiastic. I'm going to carry on letting him do that. Whereas he hates, well, not hate, but he doesn't like doing like the English, maybe the maths, but not the English and those sorts of things. Whereas, so I will kind of do those things because I much prefer doing the reading. And I mean, somebody made a comment the other day that they've never seen any of our kids read a book. The fact that we go to the library every single week, they read all the time. They sit in, just because they might also spend time on their iPads, they also spend time outside. But yeah, they do read as well. I don't video everything that's going on. But yeah, we're both still kind of trying to find out what works best. And I think now Agnes is at home as well, it will start to slip into place a bit better. The other thing, of course, is we have the younger ones, and I kind of count Toby in that at the moment, although he's 12, nearly 13, but I kind of count him in that. So there's like the younger 6 and the older 6, so Eva upwards. Now, a lot of people kind of get of the opinion, maybe even not a lot. I see it a lot on social media about, or they're old enough to do things for themselves now. They can, they go off and they're 18, I'm kicking them out the door or whatever. We're not there for that. My kids are here for as long as they want to be here. In fact, the longer the better, but don't tell them that. I'm not going to stand in their way should they want to go off and do something. I might cry for months on end, but I'm not going to stand in their way. But equally, I mean, I'm quite happy that they want to be here, that they're not worried about leaving home just yet. I'm perfectly happy with that. I think what people don't necessarily realise, because we show the little ones doing things with the little ones all the time, there's still another 6 older ones at home. And quite often, or the majority of the time, the lifts, all of those things with the older ones kind of falls to me. Ben's with the little ones. I tend to, this afternoon, I'm taking some of them to work in a bit. So Ben has gone off with the younger ones. We can't both be, and people might say, oh, why don't they get themselves to work? Because it's not physically possible. They'd have to catch about 3 different buses. And I'm not going to make them do that. Charlotte works in Elgin, so it's much easier for her. She just gets straight through bus. But for the ones that work in Lossy, it's not easy to get to. And plus, for us, they don't just suddenly get to like 13, 14 and that's it. They're off on their own, do what they like. I'm still here for them as much as I was when they were small, as much as I am for the little ones. And that's really, really important to us. And maybe that's part of why we are so close with all of our older children as well. We constantly, I will include them in any day out that we're going on. They don't have to come, but I will consider them for everything. I will tell any of them, right, we're doing this tomorrow. If you want to come, you can come. If you don't, you don't. Quite often they won't come, but they know that they've, they are welcome to come. Equally, I do kind of try and get every month, especially over the summer, get a day where we all go somewhere together, because I do feel that that's important. But if they've got something else on, we'll either try and arrange it for when nobody's got anything on, or if it's something that we can't rearrange or something else and one of them is doing something else, I'm not going to make them not go from that thing to come with us. They can, it's not like that. But as far as, meals, I will, if they are here or going to be here, yeah, I'll make sure that they've got a meal. I mean, they might have eaten out, they might be going out with friends, but this is why we have a rota of who's doing what when, not so that I can be nosing into their life, but so that I can know whether they're going to be here to eat, whether they want dinner, because they might be like 17, 18, 20, but they're still our children and they still live in our house, and I still want them to be here, and I still want them, I still want to hear about their day. I still want to hear about their day at work. I still want to get involved in what they're doing as much as they'll let me. And maybe that's, they are still, to me, they're all still little. Now, yes, they've got their independence. we don't stop them from going off and doing what they want. The girls have just been away. Olivia's away the next few days. You know, I don't stop them from going off and doing what they want to do because they're adults, you know, young adults, should I say. But equally, just because you're a young adult doesn't mean that you don't need your family and your parents around you. And I think that's something that's still really, really important because you're still developing. At that age, you're still developing. And I want them always to know that we will still be here, regardless of what age they are. And I've said this so many times before as well, we talk about everything with the kids. The younger ones aren't old enough yet to talk, you know, when they're older, they'll join in. But with the older ones especially, we talk about everything and anything. And that's another really important thing to us. You know, I want them to have the relationship that we have with them for all of their lives. And all of our lives. I want them to come back to us. I want them to, you know, when they do move away and have their own families or relationships or whatever, I want them to always know that they're always going to be able to come back to us whenever they want to. Come and talk to us about anything. So yeah, what people don't always see or don't always think about is, yes, we've got these younger ones. We've also got these older ones as well. And they're just important. Both group are just important as the other. Just as important as each other. And they both need managing in different ways. And we just do that the best way we can. We try to make sure that everybody has time. Everybody has, you know, quite often it's just 10 minutes go and sit in someone's bedroom and have a chat about their day. But it's still time. I mean, I might go and stand in Noah's room and just like that because, you know, he's a teenage boy and they don't really say very much. But they also know that we're here, you know, if they need anything, ever. And it's just really important, really, really important to know. And the younger ones see that as well. They see the relationship we have with the older ones and they know that when they grow up, they will have that same relationship. And also they have a really good relationship with the older ones as well. So they don't only have us, they have their older siblings as well. And that is how it works. And I don't know whether that's for every large family, but that is how it works for our large family. So yeah, when we get lots of comments, like, you know, Zoe doesn't do anything with the young one. In fact, she doesn't do anything at all. It's just, it kind of goes over my head because I'm just like, I know that, you know, I'm doing this or I'm cleaning that or I'm doing that or I'm running one of the older ones somewhere or, you know, I'm off taking somebody to something. So it's just, that's just how life is for us, to be honest. But yeah, rightly or wrongly, we manage the whole thing as much as best as we can. We don't always get it right. That's, you know, who does as a parent? But the thing is, we try all the time to get it as right as we can. And that is what's important. We make mistakes. We apologise. We talk about things. And we constantly try to improve what we do, how we do things. Me and Ben constantly talk about, you know, how about this? What are we doing with this? Every day we're like, right, who's doing this? Who needs to be where? How are we going to manage stuff today? What are we going to do with this? Who's here to eat? You know, all of those sorts of things are a daily thing. At the end of the day, our children are everything. They're everything to us. So getting it right is a constant. We try our best all the time. And yeah, we might not be able to go to lots of fancy places and do lots of fancy things, but we are all here. Everybody is happy and healthy and doing okay most of the time. So we must be doing something right. So yeah, I don't know if that's been any insight to anybody about how we kind of manage all the different age ranges. I think one of the main things is we're far more laid back than we used to be now, than we used to be when the older ones were younger. And that definitely helps. It helps with the younger ones too. And the fact that Ben now has the chance to be as hands-on as he is with the younger ones, because he wasn't able to do that with the older ones, because he was out or away. So, you know, he was either out at work or away with work. So he didn't get to be like that with them. So although they have, you know, they have him now, they didn't have him full time when they were small. So it's really nice that he gets that chance now to be as hands-on as he is with them as well. But yeah, we both work as hard at everything as each other. It's never been for us, it's never been, well, I do this and you do that. We've just always worked as a team, and that's how it works best for us, to be honest. And obviously the kids see that as well, and that's important for them to see us working together all the time. Yeah, that's it really. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the vlog, guys. Don't forget to drop us a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm going to go and put the washing on the line because I think it's fine up there now. So yeah. Oh, all the links to everything we do are in the video description below. And don't forget to follow us on like TikTok and Instagram, Facebook. Oh, I'm a Patreon as well. Yeah, that's it, guys. We'll see you in the next vlog. Bye.